So MAGA has now made up their mind, or at the very least voted on who they would like to see as Trump's VP pick. So, of course, what I'm referring to is CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. They had their straw poll, and they decided, we'll let you know who we want to be Trump's right-hand man or woman, number 2 in command. And here are the results. So we have Vivek Ramaswamy and Kristi Noem are tied for number 1 at 15%. All right, we're going to come back to this in a second. I'll go person by person. Tulsi Gabbard, 9%. From running as a Democrat in 2020 to being one of the top choices for Trump's VP pick in 2024. There's a lot to say about that. Tim Scott, 8%. Elise Stefanik, 8%. Byron Donald, 7%. Carrie Lake, 6%. DeSantis, 5%. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, 5%. Ben Carson, 5%. Okay. So, all right, let's go through these. Tied for number 1, Vivek and Kristi Noem. He's not going to pick Vivek. He's not going to pick Vivek for a very simple reason. Vivek is charismatic. Vivek is loved by the base. Trump does not want anybody who even has the potential to outshine him. He doesn't want it. He never did. He never will. Because he doesn't want to feel ever like he's second fiddle. And all it takes is one thought of like, hey, is this guy doing better than me with his speeches and his outreach, etc.? And he'd be jealous, and then there'd be consequences. So he's never going to pick Vivek. I think Vivek now wants it. Vivek is now trying to position himself to maybe get the pick. But what he needs to understand is it's never going to happen because you command too much of your own following and too much of your own support. And he views that as threatening. So it's not going to be Vivek. Kristi Noem, this is the one who I think is most likely. She's the one I think is most likely. I have a 1A and a 1B. 1A is Kristi Noem. Why do I think it's going to be Kristi Noem? Well, first of all, she had an affair with Corey Lewandowski, who was at one point Trump's right-hand man and is very tight-knit in that Trump circle. Number 2, she has the personality of watching paint dry. Her personality is non-existent. Number 3, Trump thinks she's hot. So, non-charismatic, incredibly loyal, and good-looking, that is like just catapults into top-tier territory, right? Also a governor from nowhere. He's not threatened by her at all. I think she is very, very likely, and she's tied for number 1. It's interesting to me, too, by the way, that the CPAC voters put her as tied for number 1, because my guess would have been, because of her lack of charisma, that she would be lower down on the list, right? And also, by the way, she stuck with Trump throughout even the rise of DeSantis at that brief moment where DeSantis basically tied or even eclipsed Trump by a couple points in the polls. Throughout all that, she was attacking DeSantis and trying to defend Trump. So he views that as super loyal. So, then we have Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, does anybody actually know what Tulsi Gabbard really believes? Does Tulsi Gabbard really know what Tulsi Gabbard believes? Does she believe anything? Or is she just, finger in the wind, let me try to find a path to sustained relevance? And if I felt like it was cut off when I tried to go the I'm like Bernie Sanders route, well, I'm just going to pivot to believe the exact opposite on every issue and suck up to Trump and Republicans. And, ever since she went to Fox News, she started hyping up all these ways in which she's very conservative and not at all on the left. And then that became her identity. And so she likes to play the role of like, me? I'm the liberal who's going to tell conservatives, you're obviously correct about everything. And she's really ingratiated herself with MAGA world. And Trump might consider it because, hey, it looks like, oh, she was a Democrat and I'm all about being more moderate. I'm not extreme, because one of the things, Trump has the stench of extremism. And so to try to temper that, he could be like, look, I'm going with somebody who's nominally a Democrat or was a Democrat 2.5 minutes ago. But, I don't think it's going to happen, Tulsi. I don't think it's going to happen. And all of your, dancing for these fools is going to be for naught. Then you're going to have to find another path to relevance. Tim Scott, 8%. He's a loser. Trump views him as a loser. I think he's considered, but I think ultimately Trump's going to go with a woman. Elise Stefanik, 8%. So she's the other one she's my 1B. 1A is Kristi Noem, 1B is Elise Stefanik. The reason I think that is because there's been some signs that, number one, he wants a woman. Number two, at one point he hinted, I think she might be from New York, and she's from New York. And she also is kind of boring, very loyal. Like, these are the things he's looking for. Total loyalty. Byron Donald's not going to happen. Black conservative, and really tried to suck up to MAGA hard. But he's also one of these guys with a personality, and Trump might find that off-putting because he doesn't want to be anybody to outshine him. Carrie Lake, 6%. She's too desperate. She's too much of a loser. She worships the ground Trump walks on, and Trump doesn't respect that. He just doesn't, right? Like, he wants you to be loyal, but he doesn't want you to be a little sycophantic weirdo who basically moved into Mar-a-Lago to try to get close to him and play with his little mushroom D. And that's what Carrie Lake is, right? Ron DeSantis, not going to happen. Too much bad blood. Huckabee Sanders, it's possible, but I just don't think so. Ben Carson, not going to happen, even though he's been a very loyal person to Trump all along. But there you go. This is who they want. So their choice is a tie between Vivek Ramaswamy and Kristi Noem. Again, I have 1A Kristi Noem, 1B Carrie Lake. But MAGA has spoken, and I mean, from a strategic standpoint, I don't know. They're all so crazy that there is no like, well, this will be good for none of these will be good for the country. These are all total psychopaths who have an insane ideology. So I don't even know what the correct strategic choice is. But he wants to go with a woman, and he wants it to look like, oh, it's a moderating force. Back in 2016, he chose Mike Pence because the concern was Trump might struggle with evangelical Christians because his whole life, he was a Democrat in the past, and he had all these affairs, and he's the billionaire playboy, and so they thought, oh, the white evangelical Christians might not like this, so we brought on Mike Pence because he's super evangelical. That's not his concern this time. His concern this time, he already has the evangelicals. In fact, that's like all he has left. They all love him to death. Now his concern is suburban voters, women, and moderates. And so that's why I think he's definitely going to go with a woman. But there you have it. MAGA has made their choice. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.